from the News Channel 5 Network. This is OpenLine.
Well, good evening and welcome into OpenLine. I'm Chuck Long, glad to be along with you for the next hour. One of my favorite hours, we're going to be with Kevin Kennedy, law expert, legal expert with the Kennedy Law Firm, in business over 35 years of expertise, helping people all throughout Tennessee, one of the very top firms in Tennessee. Now, you know if you watched before that when we do Ask an Expert on OpenLine, it's you that runs the show. You give us the call, you give us the questions, you give us the comments, and Kevin gives incredible answers and incredible advice. So welcome, Kevin Kennedy. Always great to see you.
So good to see you, my friend Chuck. And I didn't recognize Chuck. He looks so cool and casual, fun. He's ready to go on to Broadway when this show's over with.
Let's do that. Let's do it.
Have a little fun. So good to be with you.
Great to be with you. And Kevin, you know, again, this hour, it's just one of my favorites. We've been doing this for many years together.
Many years. Don't tell everything, Chuck.
But I tell you, I have gone to the University of Kevin Kennedy, and it's a learning experience every time.
Last week, Chuck, I was at the National Trial Lawyers Master Trial Advocacy School. What did I learn? Well, there was 1,000 of the greatest lawyers America could offer, and this is what I took away, Chuck. So it's kind of interesting. They're getting billion-dollar settlements now, billion-dollar jury trials, and one said, "You have not because you ask not." Profound. And then they also said illustrations. We paint pictures with our words, but also do your illustrations.
Oh, wow. Pretty profound there.
Profound. I've been thinking
Absolutely.
about it.
And, you know, this is the hour, too, that we enjoy so much because people get so much help from it. And I know a lot of times we have so many regular callers that phone in, they ask a question that they feel like is just pertaining to them, but then it ends up helping so many other people.
Absolutely.
Because people understand and relate to a lot of these.
Well, you know, when I look back over our show and what is the good things that we've been able to, we have taken some complicated issues and we've made them pretty simple, where we can talk about those things just one-on-one. And you've been really great, Chuck, in trying to field the questions, get them, and so we can have some answers and some direction. One of the fascinating things about the law, it's not always black and white. It's your theory of the law and it's my theory. And again, who is the most persuasive? You say, well, we got to stand on the law. Sure we do, but that law has to be interpreted.
Absolutely. And, you know, Kevin, too, there's such a broad range of topics that people call in about, whether it's, you know, planning a will, estate planning, whether or not it's, again, you know, going against the big insurance companies.
Corporate insurance.
I mean, because that's a challenge. And people often feel like, well, I'm the little guy. There's no way I can take them on.
I'm not even going to try because there's no way I can beat them. There are far too many lawyers. It's far too complex. These are educated people, and I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't have the time. And so the system is still, the best thing going is to get that lawyer, and usually they take it on a third. So you can hire some of the best lawyers, and it really didn't cost you on the front end.
And Kevin, and you know, as I said at the top of the show, you guys have been in business for over 35 years.
Yes.
You don't handle just one area, or you don't have just one area of expertise. You have multiple areas of expertise. You've got a large staff of lawyers, but that's why you guys are able to have so many of these answers in so many different areas.
Every day, you never know what's going to come through. Guess what? Every day, you never know what's going to be confronted in your home, Chuck. And right now, you know, a lot of my work, we identify a subject. Okay, there's the subject. And then someone identifies an issue. And then I'll go back to that research team. I got a great one. I'd say, okay, now, give it to me. So that's phase one. Now, you want to hear phase two? Well, they give me the research. It's good. Now, I say, now put it in about 4 good points and explain it like you're talking to me. Then that's really challenging. Take it from the law, make it simple, take some complex things and make them so the average man can understand them. That's the key to a great lawyer.
Absolutely, nail on the head. I had to go to a lawyer to do some work on the will and that kind of thing, which the thing that threw me, I didn't understand half the legal talk that they were talking about.
I know.
And yet you get on this show, and that's what I love about it, is people call in, you make it so that everybody can understand.
Well, you know, when we do a marital dissolution agreement, we do a parenting plan, we'll get through the high points like a man that can come out this thick. And remember, is there any magic words that we should stand on these magic words? Not really. And if there is a sensitive area, I like to explain it out so that there is no misunderstanding. What did you say? A good understanding keeps down a misunderstanding. And the Lord said, Kim, well, you can put anything. I said, well, then just put the one thing in. Make me happy. If there's something you want, let's entertain it. And that's what we do. On a will, I will commonly, okay, this is important. I'm going to leave it to Chuck. I'm going to leave this to his brother. Going to do this. And then we've got about 3 pages of legal mumbo jumbo. You can read it. Basically, what it's just kind of following the law right here. It's nothing really significant. These first paragraphs lay out the vast majority of what we want accomplished. So we can kind of look through it, and you trust your lawyer to that degree too.
Well, so if you have a question or a comment this evening, make sure you get online with us at 737-7587. You see that number right there on your screen. And again, no matter what the question is, whether or not it's about what happens to you when you have a traffic stop, or to your rights, are you able to take your phone out and start recording? Are you able to, ask some people that may have seen the accident happen?
Wow.
Call about those. Call about, we were saying, when you take on maybe the hospitals, maybe you take on the insurance companies, not sure exactly how to do that. Kevin, we always say, though, the first place to start when you have something like that is with lawyers.
Yeah, and again, I constantly talk through this show, and I'll come back and say, Kevin, why don't you practice what you preach? Well, I try to do that. It's practice what you teach. Government officials can come up and they can say, well, now we would like to talk to you about this, and sometimes we have to deal with them, but you better be careful on every word you say. And if you're not careful, don't say anything, because your words will be used against you and they can be interpreted against you. And quite frankly, every time you see one of these federal cases, there's 20 counts. Well, guess what? A lot of the counts, they say lying to a federal officer. Well, somebody talk to them. So if you say, well, I didn't really want to talk to him, you can get a lawyer to help you. You won't be confronted with these problems your entire life. So take a sophisticated approach. You'll hear me in the back of your mind saying, Kev said, let the lawyer talk to him and we'll field those questions. It's great advice.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's go to our lines right now. If you are just tuning in, the number is on your screen. If you do have a question or a comment for Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm, one of the top legal minds in all of Tennessee, let's go to Tim right now. Tim, good evening. We're glad you called in. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
I have a question for Kevin.
Great. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you a little situation, and you tell me whether there's anything legally I can do.
All right.
I have been seeing this cardiologist for over 10 years. He's done 2 echocardiograms or run that tube up my groin to see what was going on with my heart. He's done that twice. And he kept saying that there was nothing there that he could do. There was nothing he could do, just give me medication.
All right.
But then June the 2nd of this year, I had a massive heart attack, and they took me to another hospital, and come to find out there is nothing can be done with my heart. The heart that I have now, they're going to have to try to build up, and I hope that they can either put an electronic device in there to replace my heart, or maybe a transplant.
Okay.
My question is there anything legally, and they told me at the hospital that the left side of my heart is completely dead, and the right side of my heart is only pumping at 15%. And they said this did not, just happen overnight. That this has been building up for years.
All right, Tim.
Anything legally I can do? Yes.
What we've got, first off, I am so sorry to hear about your situation. Second off, Tim, you're talking really great for operating on 15%, because that is very significant in those numbers. Really what you were confronted with is possibly a misdiagnosis. Under the state of Tennessee, you've got 1 year to do this. Now, you still have an argument that you didn't know about this until later. Let me give you some of my experience too. Doctors really don't want to testify against other doctors. So you'd probably have to seek out a lawyer who might have access to doctors who would be willing to look at your records and then make an assessment. If it was obvious that there was a deviation from the standard of care in that medical community, you've got a claim. Now, you just need to talk to a lawyer privately, one of the medical malpractice. What we're all confronted with, almost all the lawyers hardly are doing medical malpractice. Why? Because it costs so much to get a doctor, and the laws, the labor lobbyists with the legislature have just made it now where it's a 1 year. And then, well, let me teach you one more trick, and then I'll let you go. But you should probably see if you could find a medical malpractice specialist. He'll want your excuse me, your records to look at. But one more trick is, now you have to have 90 days before the 1 year. You've got to have a medical expert give an affidavit saying there is good cause to bring a claim. If you don't, there's problems.
Okay, so that is great advice. Tim, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate that. All right, let's go right back to our lines right now. Waylon is on the line with us. Good evening, Waylon. Do you have a question for Kevin?
Yes.
Go ahead, Waylon.
It's on some property. My mother-in-law and father-in-law owned the property, and they passed away. And they had 3 kids, and they have passed away. And they had, the 3 kids had some kids, and now they're heirs to the property. There wasn't no will. And 2 of them's come up with a thing to sell the property. And a lawyer sent us a default thing where the rest of us didn't get a lawyer. Does that mean that there will not be anything in it for the rest of them, or?
No, what that really means is they'll send a default and they're going to get a court order to sell the property. If you are intestate, if you're one of the heirs, you'll still receive your portion. But I like to tell people to go file an answer, even if you didn't hire a lawyer. File one in the court with your name, address, and phone number so you can be notified when the sale is going to take place, and you can monitor it. And if you know there's 10, you can always go to the court and say how many heirs is to the property. If it sells for $250,000, and we got 10 heirs, they're going to take the expenses of the sale out, and then there would be a distribution under Tennessee law under heirship. So you wouldn't be completely out, but the squeaky door gets the oil. You get on top of it, stay on top of your business, and it's in your best interest and your families.
All right, good info. Thank you so much for calling in, Waylon. All right, if you do have a legal question, you'd like to ask one of the best legal minds in the business, Kevin Kennedy is here for the next hour. Make sure you get online with us, 737-7587. We'll take a break, and we'll be back right after this.